Welcome back, class. I'm Matt, your guide here on White Calvert. We're playing Dragon Age Inquisition, and it's time for some fireside chats. Or not.
See you later, Bull. See ya.
See ya. Let's see if anyone else wants to chat before I continue with In Hushed Whispers.
Do you need something?
Just a conversation.
Can you tell me more about the Seekers?
The Seekers of Truth were born from the original Inquisition long ago, when it united with the Chantry.
Oh yeah?
Seekers stood above the Templars, watching over them but also investigating magical events they couldn't handle. We were meant
Super
to be
Templars.
incorruptible, above reproach. How seldom does reality match the ideal?
Pretty much always.
But what are Seekers, exactly?
Those who know anything of us think we are Templars. We do not use lyrium, however. Our abilities are different, as was our original purpose. We disciplined the Templars and were accountable only to the Divine. And not even her, truthfully.
Oh, well, of course not.
So nobody ever watched over the Seekers?
It was the Divine's duty. But she could only do so much when the truth was hidden from her.
I'll
The
bet.
Templars have always feared us. When a Seeker arrived at a circle, they knew trouble was afoot.
Well, it's
That
like
kind of
internal
power is
affairs.
troubling. You begin to think you are the only one who can solve the world's problems. If you don't see a problem, it doesn't exist. If someone insists it does, they are the blind ones.
Like Uspis.
You mentioned that Seekers have different abilities than Templars.
Entirely. A Templar's abilities come from lyrium and are designed to hunt mages.
Uh-huh.
Ours come from ritual and many years of dedicated training.
They're designed to
We
hunt
cannot be possessed
Templars.
by demons and are immune to mind control. Useful considering our role. Seekers can gain other gifts, though that depends on the individual.
Cool.
What kind of gifts do you have?
I can set the lyrium within a person's blood aflame.
Oh,
Both mages and Templars bend before my will.
that's
Some
terrifying.
Seekers use it to interrogate, others simply to paralyze. Once there was a Seeker who could use it to kill. That particular gift is considered rare.
Well, good for that.
Why did your order turn against the Chantry?
We originally united with the Chantry through a treaty that stated they would keep mages under control.
Uh-huh,
It was
but...
felt Most Holy had tacitly allowed the Circle of Magi to vote on its independence, thus breaking the treaty. The Seekers saw themselves as justified, and they led the Templars into a war of righteousness.
Ew. Whoops.
You sound like you disagree.
We knew what was happening at Kirkwall, where the Mage Rebellion began. We looked into reports of Knight Commander Meredith's harsh treatment of her charges years earlier. But we found so many shocking cases of magical corruption, it was decided her actions were justified.
Oh, well, that's
If
easy
we'd
then.
been there when it happened, if we'd looked harder at the root causes,
You seem to care a great deal about it.
too much, if you ask the rest of my order. When faced with a problem, the Seekers would close ranks and crush it.
I'm gonna crush
We
it.
would find an answer, but only once we felt we weren't being coerced. The moment the mages voted for independence, our response was predictable. It was difficult to watch.
How does someone become a Seeker?
Most Seekers begin training in their youth. I was much older, an exception due to my noble birth. We train rigorously for years. Our bodies and minds must be elastic to undergo the vigil, and most fail even then.
Oh.
Is the Vigil some kind of initiation?
It is the rite every Seeker must go through in order to summon their gifts. A full year of fasting, prayer, and separation from all distractions, including other people. We
Sounds
empty
horrible.
ourselves of all emotion, focusing only on the purity of our devotion. And the moment it finally ends, it's wonderful. Faith realized. I cannot put it into words.
That was nice.
I wish I could experience that.
If the vigil was not so arduous, I'd say more should attempt it. What if mages never needed to fear possession by demons? I'm told it is impossible, however. I suppose I'll never know the truth of it now.
Not necessarily.
I've no more questions.
Thanks for the talk, Cass. I'm just going to talk to, allies for part of this episode. And when I'm done with that, I'll probably start a new episode. So if you don't want to see me talking to my companions, skip to the next episode.
Is there anything I should know?
The Lord Seeker's actions are a mystery, but the Templars will aid us. They cannot sit idle while the breach remains.
I should get to know you better. We're working together after all.
What would you like to know?
All right, where are you from?
How to act for Eldon. What? Where did this come from? I'd like to take full responsibility for Lady Marchalette's odd behavior of late. You see, we recently began the study of history. I thought that it would do the young mistress some good to be exposed to all Theodosian cultures and not just Orlais. It was a foolish thought. Regrettably, your dear daughter has taken a particular interest in Ferelden folklore. She first developed an affinity for King Calanhad, which seems to have evolved into borderline infatuation. She stared at me eyes wide when I told her how he unified the barbarians with his allegedly incomparable might and charisma. Every time I tried to move the lesson onto something more important, she insisted I tell her again about Calanhad. How the Ferelden say his hair was twice as yellow as the sun, and his chin more chiseled than the tallest peak in the Frostbacks. Twice now I've had to tear down drawings she's tacked up in her bedroom of the man shirtless. Then we moved on to the werewolves, which was even worse. As you may already know, the Fereldans venerate the folk heroes Dane and Hafter. Dane was said to have been a werewolf, and Hafter to have descended from one. No enlightened man or woman would ever view such beast people with anything but revulsion, but you know Fereldans and their love of wildlife. Unfortunately, these tales of the wolf men set the little mistress's imagination afire. When she suggested I put on a play for you, or we put on a play for you and her lord father, I could not say no. I'm afraid that's why Marchalette was running through the mansion, wearing wet furs and frightening the chambermaids. She was rehearsing a scene in which Hafter drives back the Darkspawn. I've been informed that some priceless family heirlooms were destroyed amidst all that confusion, and I cannot fully express my dismay. I understand if my abject failure as a tutor results in my immediate dismissal. A letter from Brother Bernard to his former employee. Where does this come from?
I grew up in Ferelden, near Honleith. I was transferred to Kirkwall shortly after the Blight. This is the first I've returned in almost 10 years.
Okay. But where did that letter come from?
You haven't seen Ferelden in 10 years. Are you glad to be back?
I was not sorry to leave at the time. I did not expect to return. Now, between the Divine's murder and the breach, I've arrived to find nothing but chaos.
I'll bet.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight. Did you fight Darkspawn?
No. I was stationed at Ferelden's Circle Tower. The Circle
sure
had
were.
troubles of its own. I remained there during the Blight.
Sounds awful.
What happened at the Circle Tower?
Few who survived the Blight have fond memories of that time. I would prefer not to speak of it.
Fine.
Varric's from Kirkwall. Did you two know each other?
I knew he was friends with the champion of Kirkwall, but little else. We've spoken more since I joined the Inquisition, largely at Varric's insistence. Apparently I spend too much time with a serious expression on my face, and it's bad for my health.
If anyone would know, it would be Varric.
What was Kirkwall like?
While I was there, Canary occupied and then attacked the city. The Viscount's murder caused political unrest. Relations between Mages and Templars fell apart. An apostate blew up the Chantry, and the Knight Commander went mad. Other than that, it was fine.
Oh, of course.
What happened between Kirkwall's Mages and Templars?
You were at the Conclave. You must have heard people speak of it.
Yes, but you were there.
There was tension between Mages and Templars long before I arrived. Eventually, it reached a breaking point. There was fighting in the streets. Abominations began killing both sides. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
What happened then?
The Templars should have restored order, but Red Lyrium had driven Knight Commander Meredith mad. She threatened to kill Kirkwall's champion, turned on her own men. I'm not sure how far she would have gone. Too far.
So you opposed her?
I stood with the champion against her, in the end. I should have seen through Meredith sooner.
You should have. But
I'll let you return to your work.
hindsight is
If you require
20/20.
anything, I'll be here.
You'd better be. If you leave, boy will I be cranky about it. Alright, let's pop inside. HR pop inside. The traditional freeze as we enter the city. I wonder if Varric wants to chat.
Need something?
I want to know more about Red Lyrium.
I'll tell you what I can.
How did the Red Lyrium get in the Temple of Sacred Ashes?
I don't know. As far as I knew, there was only one small piece of the original idol we brought out of the Deep Roads. And it's locked in a vault in Kirkwall. One I had built by the mining caste especially to hold it.
Yeah, we talked about that already.
I think that's enough on Red Lyrium.
Yeah, not really my favorite subject.
Understandable.
Need something?
I've read your Tale of the Champion, and I have a few questions.
That's a pretty common reaction. Go ahead.
I guess not.
Carry on.
Okay. I think Sarah's in here? That sounded like a very Sarah-ish sigh. The sigh of one disgusted.
Sarah?
Chasing the Lord Seeker, I hear. Anyone who thinks they need Lord in front
I
of
didn't
their
mean
name,
anything
that's
by
bad.
it.
Bet
It's
you've got
good to see us
portraits
all
of
coming
you.
together to serve the
That's
Maker.
put into a total arse. Fact.
I agree. Why would I want to kick her out?
What do you think about the people who have gathered?
Which, the ones who do things or the ones who give orders?
What about Solus?
Solus. His head's crammed up 1,000 years ago.
That's not very nice.
Anything to say about Varric?
Varric? Too clever. Always saying something, but never saying it straight.
Sounds accurate-ish.
Thoughts about Cassandra?
Not as buttoned up as she plays, right? Tough, though. I'd stand behind her in front of anything.
Well, that's very brave of you.
What do you think about our spy master, ambassador, and commander?
Leliana is pretty in places. Swear I've seen her, too. Or heard she used to play. But that'd be mad. Now, Josephine, she's as good at humbling her kind as I am. Just with less mess. Knows her business, if we have to have it. And colour. I suppose if you want a jackboot, you get a big one so you can grow into it. Nice hair, though.
What's your opinion of Vivienne?
She's a bitch, but she knows. She better.
That's, you know, true enough.
Thoughts on Iron Bull?
He makes me wonder about things.
I'll bet he
You do
does.
too, mostly about what your women look like.
Any thoughts about Warden Blackwall?
He's too good, right? Like to see him out of that uniform. Not like that.
But totally like that.
We'll talk later.
Good, right? I'll be here.
You have a good time, Sarah, of the Friends of Red Jenny. Solus is usually around here. There he is. That's our Solus. How's my buddy?
What can I do for you?
Nothing, apparently.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Just keep doing you. Boom. Alright, so can I upgrade my healing potion? No. I need more Embrium and Prophet's Laurel. I don't know where to find Prophet's Laurel. Increase the duration. That could be handy. Okay. And I don't really want to upgrade this right now. So for the healing potion we need a lot more Embrium and Prophet's Laurel. Well, the Embrium, as I recall, we can find in lots of different places. We don't have any tonic. Oh, Tears of the Dead, we've got that one. Nothing we can do with that at the moment. And grenades. Anti-even fire, increase the damage. Increase duration. We don't have any Dragon Thorns, so that won't help. Increase panic chance. No dragonthorn, no withered stalk. And some wasps.
Fissa sent me over to see if you need anything.
Yeah, need more elf root.
Thank you, no. Can't eat while I'm working. Crumbs in a potion could ruin everything.
I'll bet. Alright, now if we pop over to the Chantry, we should be able to chat with Vivienne. I'm still holding out hope that Vivienne will be less bad than she is.
The castle really has...
Leliana!
It seems Blackwall knows nothing about the disappearance of the Grey Wardens. It's a disappointment. I am, however, glad that he is with us, even if he was not what I expected.
What were you
He
expecting?
seems to be a good man, and his experience will be an asset to the Inquisition.
Nice.
As for the other Wardens, I suppose we will have to keep looking.
Maybe we can find the Warden Commander. Warden Commander at Hirakuzland? Remember her? Your friend?
Anything I should know?
I've nothing to report at the moment.
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
Yeah.
They say you spent some time in Lothering. Did you know the champion?
We spoke a few times. I seldom left the Chantry, and we never became more than casual acquaintances. I saw more of the Hawk twins. Bethany in particular.
Oh.
She would spend time in meditation at the Chantry, and she seemed to like my stories. The other one, the young man, he was a little surly.
Really?
I did encounter the champion again later in Kirkwall. Those were terrible times.
I had really bright white hair.
Was this when the Chantry was destroyed?
No, that happened later. But even then, the news coming out of Kirkwall was disheartening. There were some in Val Rayo who wanted the Divine to declare an exalted march on Kirkwall.
I remember.
Justina sent me there to see if that could be avoided, to gather evidence to calm those agitating for war. I guess it didn't matter in the end.
No.
You have a history with the Warden who ended the Blight, don't you?
I count her among my closest
Yes,
friends.
her.
She's probably the only person I trust completely. Haven't heard from her in some time. She just disappeared. I try not to think about what might have happened.
I think about it all the time. It's all that I think about.
You seem to know Josephine quite well.
I met her a long time ago, but we didn't become good friends until years later. After the Blight, in fact. I'd just returned to Val Rayo, and she welcomed me back by throwing a diplomatic ball.
Oh.
She was the Antivan ambassador at the time, you see.
Oh,
The ball
good for her.
was... alright. Too many politicians. At midnight, Josie and I left to find a real party. We've been friends ever since.
Josie and the Pussycats.
What do you consider a real party?
It's not a real party until someone's small clothes are pinned to a chantry board. And that's all I'm saying about it.
Well, that's plenty enough.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am.
I do. Leliana. I'm glad she's in this game. I like Leliana.
Come back alive.
All repeat the chant of light.
I didn't go anywhere, so...
Dispels the darkness upon us.
Hi, Vivienne.
One world, one life,
Yes?
one death. There is but one
Let's talk.
God, and he is our maker.
I wanted to ask you about the Circle of Magi.
Of course. What do you wish to know?
Why do you love it so much? I think we've had this conversation before.
What was it like to live in a circle?
My dear, your question is the root of all problems with mages.
Yeah, we've already done this.
And every person within each... Some people suffer. The same is true of people everywhere, in all
Yeah, this is the thing that
circumstances,
pissed me
whether
off.
they are mages or not.
How did we come to this state where the circle's in revolt?
A failure of perspective that infected circle leadership. Mages lived solely in a world of...
We've had this one too.
Across... But the map... When a mage... The leadership... Sparing... So long as they
Yeah,
have their freedom,
I know.
they
We
could
got
tend
this.
people for
And...
riots, angry mobs, or about pit...
Are you familiar with Grand Enchanter Fiona?
We've met. Before her horrendously ill-timed and selfish vote for independence, I thought her adequate at her job. In her dotage, she could not handle looking after the well-being of so many people.
Oh my
We
god.
would have done better to replace her years ago, to let her spend time gardening.
Did they have cause to rebel?
In the aftermath of their terrorist attacks? Was that really the most opportune time to break away?
It wasn't
By all
them.
means, protest abuses by the Templars. Just don't do it in a way that says mages support wholesale murder. By
Yep,
voting
bad
when they
timing.
did, my colleagues all but declared war upon the ordinary people of Thedas. A war in which we are outnumbered 100 to 1.
And
I thought the fighting was only between mages and Templars. Why are mages fighting mages?
The vote for independence was carried by only a small margin, but Fiona chose to let the motion stand. Those who opposed a rash declaration of war against the entire free world had little choice.
black
By
and white
breaking from the
much?
Chantry when they did, the rebels declared themselves in support of mass murder. Anyone who did not wish to support terrorism and the slaughter of innocents was forced to take arms against the rebels.
I see. Thanks for another pointless chat, Vivienne. I'm glad to waste my time chatting with you about nothing.
I will take these injury reports to research.
Boom!
I'll tell the apothecary.
Still nothing
to tell you
there.
right
If you
away.
find something.
Josephine!
What may I do for you?
What do the people make of us?
Despite our fame, we're low on steadfast allies. We must aim for more.
Okay.
Any visiting dignitaries I should watch out for?
None in particular. Our guests are well pleased with what they've seen.
Yay!
What may I do for you?
Haven't we done this already?
What exactly does your job entail?
I meet with ambassadors from various factions and countries and cement alliances with them. We are a young cause. Diplomacy is essential to our credibility.
Don't need to convince me of that.
Then you speak for the Inquisition with these nobles.
I do. Someone must foster goodwill on our behalf, as well as prevent controversy as news of us spreads.
How heavily are our actions scrutinized?
Make no mistake. Every noble house, every throne, is waiting to see what the Inquisition does next. Many are willing to pledge support, if offers are made in just the right fashion.
Of course.
I intend to see that they are.
You're the best.
Tell me how you came to work for the Inquisition again.
I'd been considering leaving my post in Antiva for a new challenge when Leliana recruited me. There's such unrest in Thedas, and the Inquisition seems a promising method to stop it. It's to everyone's benefit if we prevent the Mage-Templar conflict from spreading further.
So, was it the prospect of stability that drew you here?
The full impact of the Mage Rebellion has yet to be felt, and that was before the death of the Divine. The violence must be curbed before we see it turn to full-scale war.
I concur.
I can only imagine the bloodshed if it escalates further.
I'm afraid history holds many examples of what will happen if it does.
Yeah.
Let's speak later.
Another time.
I haven't checked the basement in a while.
These truths the Maker has revealed to me.
Still nothing in here? Let's see if our basement's full of
With
criminals.
passioned breath does the darkness creep.
They keep asking me to get more cages, so I assume they need them for some reason. Is there anyone in here? Oh. So I'd have to get Sera to come in here to help me with that. Let's see if Sera will help us with that. If we pop back outside. Because there was that option that said I need a lock picked. So maybe I can bring her with me in here, and she'll pick the lock. Wouldn't that be nice and logical? I need my companion for help. They will come and help me. Rather than, nah, forget you.
You're certain?
Who's leaving these doors open?
Chasing mages, that's a Templar's job. A big, armored, pissed-off helm polisher. Not too late to go find some. Or stay home.
I was wondering if you could look at some locks for me.
What, the doors under the chantry?
Yes.
You know about them?
Places have doors. I just wasn't interested in poking through some sisters' breeches. Whatever floats you. Consider them open, yeah?
Thank you. Sera was never.
Sitting and waiting. Great, yeah?
It is great.
Tell me about yourself.
What about me?
You're skilled. Who taught you how to use a bow?
No one.
That seems unlikely.
What? I picked it up here and there. Mostly it just makes sense. It's not like that for you.
It never occurred to you that doing what you do should require some effort?
Yeah, I practice. Some. Not like Cullen and his pets. I mean, you miss, then you don't. Is it that hard to see when it's wrong?
Is it an elf thing?
Most I know couldn't find an arrow sitting on it. Right. Maybe I just make it look easy in shy company. Fact still is, no teacher. Where would I find one in alleyways anyway?
She's pretty cool.
How about the basics? Where are you from?
Herald.
I got that from the accent. Where in Ferelden?
Over? Okay, fine. Denerim for a bit. South, north, wherever I want.
Oh, you're from wherever. I'm from north wherever.
What?
North wherever. Oh, we had fun on street and or in local tavern.
Hardy-ha. Oh, funny you.
I thought it was pretty good.
I don't like complicated. Let's leave it at that. Maybe.
Okay.
You're not like most of the elves I've met.
Thanks, right? Or was that an insult? I suppose I could go barefoot and whine more. Like
You
that's
could.
soulless, right? Never be as good as we were. Well, who's we? I'm just fine.
I think there's more to it than that. A few thousand years more.
Hey, someone wants to be angry about old debts, be angry. Be a terror that never lets an enemy forget. But if you're digging it up so you can wear it, that's just weird. I mean, the Dalish don't really know. They have stories, but that's all they are. It's all fancy dress, not history.
Interesting perspective.
We'll talk later.
If you say so.
I suppose it's the difference between performing history and living it.
Oh, Maker, you were him. You were the Herald of Andraste.
I'm just a guy.
Sent to test us, to see whether we would accept the Cunari as Andraste's chosen.
What?
I think everyone is worthy of love. The Maker just makes some of us larger and greyer than others. And, I mean, I'm Fissa. Can I get you a drink?
It's all right, Fissa. I won't do anything frightening.
If you wanted to close the breach, I wouldn't mind. As I said, I'm Fissa. The Inquisition soldiers needed a place to unwind, so Leliana brought me in to set up a tavern. Nothing fancy, but it's safer for the soldiers than looking for trouble in some village.
Yeah.
You said Leliana asked you to run an Inquisition tavern. How did you meet?
Dumb luck, mainly. I managed an inn back in Denerim. When I heard interesting gossip, I passed word to Leliana. Sometimes it was helpful. She asked if I wanted to own my own tavern, and I said yes. I didn't realize she meant this.
Was she in Origins? Or Leliana's song?
What can you tell me about the
I feel like she was.
Adan is Haven's apothecary. He's been making potions and tending to the wounded as best he can. Harrit is the Inquisition smith. Whatever he can't make you, Thren the quartermaster can probably find. And
I think we've been through this.
I buy him from Segrit. His prices aren't too high. Yet. Oh,
Yet.
there's also Minave. She studies beasts and things, as I understand.
Well, thank you, Fissa.
Farewell.
Goodbye.
Alright, some really beautiful music in this game, but of course I'm worried that I'll get the whole copyright claims thing going. Pretty much every single video of my Dragon Age 2 Let's Play got a claim on it. Mostly from,
Walk safely.
well, you know, third-party ad rev, but based on, you know, on Xur's stuff.
Let's talk about you.
Me?
You!
Bards tell tales. I bet you tell some good ones.
There are plenty of tales in the library. Perhaps you should look for them there.
Hey.
What did you do before you worked for the Divine?
I was a bard, an Orlesian spy for many years. For a time I also served a small cloister in Lothering. After the Blight, the Divine called on me to oversee her personal network.
Can you teach me to be a bard?
Being a bard is so much more than being a spy. It involves a keen understanding of politics, the ebb and flow of influence, the great game. The Bard's is an intricate dance where a smile can be sharper than any dagger. The best way to learn is to immerse yourself in it. Perhaps when this is all over, I'll teach you.
I hope so.
I should leave you to your work.
We can always talk later.
The perils of the bard life. Alright, well that's it for this episode. When we return,
Back alive.
we will try to come back alive from the next phase of In Hushed Whispers. So until then, all the best.